Hi, in my last video on Joshua chapter 13, I talked about how God reminded Joshua that he needed to divvy up the land west of the Jordan to the remaining tribes of Israel. Now, the rest of chapter 13 is devoted to describing the territory that Moses had allotted to Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh on the east side of the Jordan before they crossed the river to invade Canaan. The full extent of the territory that God has promised to Israel is much larger than the land that they occupy today, and much larger than the land on the west side of the Jordan that they were initially supposed to occupy. God's plan appears to be that they should cross the Jordan, conquer the land of Canaan on the west side of the Jordan, and then expand into the rest of the promised territory at some later date. And the prophets describe a time after the Messiah returns when the land will be divided up again among the tribes and an inheritance will be given to all of the many Gentiles, the mixed multitude that has been joined to Israel since that time. But that time is yet to come. And eventually the full extent of Israel will cover large portions of the lands that we know today as Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon, including the land of Israel, possibly other parts of Saudi Arabia and even Iraq. I don't really know. But I want to talk about the tribes east of the Jordan. You know, it wasn't God's original plan that they should occupy the territory on that side. But when they got there and they had already conquered it, and they saw how good the land was for pasture, they asked Moses if they could just settle there. It was perfect for them. And Moses made a deal with them that if they would help their brothers conquer the territory west of the Jordan, then they could settle east. And God allows us to ask for more than what is in his initial plan. Now, he doesn't want us to ask for more than what's in his will. But he does give us the freedom to desire more, to want to expand our influence and our territory. That's not necessarily a bad thing as long as we're doing it within his will and according to his plan. But it can be less than ideal if we want to push things faster than God really wants us to, because God knows what we're ready for and he knows the right time for things. The problem that Gad and Reuben and that half tribe ran into eventually was that they were isolated on the other side of the Jordan. They were more in contact with pagan tribes, and they were vulnerable to invasion from Assyria to the north. So although God allows us to expand and to get more than we would otherwise, it's not always ideal. It does come with a price. And I think that Yeshua's advice to the disciples when he was telling them, don't worry about your provisions for tomorrow. When you go out among the world, let God take care of you. He said, seek first after the things of God and his righteousness, and then all of these other things will be added to you in time. They are within God's will. But sometimes it's not for today. Sometimes it's better to wait. This is Jay Carper from American Torah. Be blessed.